Under AO feature on your way to see me. Stretch me when I can't sleep, bang on when I see you. Play with me, you can't sleep. We got into the sea shoe. You won't have no case rearrange your shit soon as they.
And how's it going, folks? Welcome back to Off the Dome Sports for a second time today. We went live earlier with Mr. Bob Rose talking Saints. Now we're back tonight talking LSU with my boy Holden Lee of Under the Lights Sports. He's a guy I interact with on Twitter all the time, talking LSU. Tonight, we're going to talk LSU basketball, the recent struggles of LSU basketball, what they need to do from now on for the rest of the season. We're going to talk Brian Kelly, how he's winning over LSU fans, and why is he gaining out-of-state hate for simply recruiting his players and having fun. Then we're gonna talk about Big Joe Brrrr, bro. Big Joe Brrrr. How is he becoming a legend after LSU? Legend in college, now a legend in the NFL. So we're gonna start talking about LSU basketball, and Mr. Holden Lee's probably gonna call in a sec. He's a guy that he watches a lot of LSU basketball as well, so he'll give you his perspective. I'll give you my perspective. I have season tickets, so I've pretty much been to every game but the Kentucky game. I had to miss the Kentucky game. I had to work that night, couldn't make it. But every other game I pretty much made. I did miss the TCU game. I was out for the weekend. Not get to watch it, but went over the stats, looked over the highlights. It just seemed like, you know, Vincent's and Day's first game back, they're a little rusty. Uh, Defense got caught lacking. It looks like something that's out of ordinary for LSU. Normally rely on defense. Offensively, we look like we're doing pretty fine. TCU was getting a lot of high percentage shots. It looks like 49% from the field, which is which is which teams don't normally do that against LSU. So far this season, they haven't. TCU has been a very good team. They're now 14-4. LSU is now 16-5. Now I got Mr. Holden Lee calling right now, and I got him on the phone. Let's see. You can hear me? Hello? All right, try now. I think I can hear you right now. I don't know. I don't know if we can hear him or not. Hello? Okay, okay.
Sean,
Okay, I can hear you now.
good?
Yes, sir. Sorry about that. Uh so we were just talking
Oh,
about LSU basketball and their recent loss to TCU. Um so they lost by 9 points, right? 77-68. I missed the game,
yeah.
couldn't really get to watch it. I was busy during the weekend. Did you watch the game against TCU?
Yeah, I watched parts of it. I was at the hunting camp, but I watched what I could. Um, my take, I don't know TCU, his name is something Miles, a guard. They were running just pick and roll and ISO with him all game, and LSU couldn't stop him. I mean, I feel like it was one of those games where TCU could have played anybody. They were going to win that game. And it just seems like that's been the trend lately against LSU. They always have somebody with a career night against them. And I mean, LSU, I mean, they didn't play a bad game offensively. It wasn't horrible. Like they did enough to win. It's just the defense kind of lost in the game, in my opinion, from what I've seen the highlights.
Yeah, I mean, normally we win by our defense, and we're a defense first team. They're 49% from the field. Like, how does that even happen against our defense? I don't know. Do you think it maybe because of Pinson and Days getting back into the rotation after missing a few games?
I don't want to say that because Days was Days. He had a double-double, and I mean, Days is always going to put up numbers. Whether if he's not scoring, he's going to rebound or play good defense, or if he's not doing that, he's scoring. Stinson, um, can't really blame him. You know, he was eased back into it. He had a big brace on his knee. You can tell he was running kind of good, at least laterally. Um, he was running good, but like I said, I'm not going to blame the offense too much. I mean, we did miss some shots. I mean, we did come back from being down 16 points. We did hit some threes. I felt like Murray, he kind of had a better second half. His first half wasn't too good. But like I said, defense, man, they just looked tired. And like Wade said, they were a step slow. That guard for TCU, something Miles, I think he's one of the best guards in the Big 12. And we couldn't stop him. I mean, during that pick and roll, we had trouble switching onto him, and then they left the big man on him. Either it was Reed or somebody from the pick and roll, and he was just carving up mid-range jump shots, and then they was knocking down threes. So I hate blaming one side, but defense didn't have their better games. I'll say that.
Man, Reed. We talk about it on Twitter all the time. Reed is such a liability sometimes, man. I just don't understand how is he so soft sometimes. It makes sense that why the pick and roll worked because, like you just said, it looks like they were switching and they're switching on to Reed. I just don't understand why Reed.
I,
You know?
I, man, look, I hate down talking players. I do, but sometimes you just have to lay out the facts, you know, and he's just not ready. I mean, he's just not ready. I mean, yeah, everybody says, "Oh, he's a 5-star, this and that." Man, look, I don't believe in those ratings. I think it's all BS because I mean, you got so many kids that get overlooked that's considered a 2-star, 3-star, but half these kids are freaking best athletes in the NBA right now. So I don't believe in that star crap. But Reed is raw. He needs major footwork improvement. His post game needs improvement. And if he wants to be like a stretch big, he needs to improve his jump shot. His free throw shooting is bad. And like I said, I'm not trying to downplay the kid. I think he has very much skyrocket potential, but he just needs a lot of work in this offseason. He's 7 foot. That helps, you know. I mean, but he needs to start playing like a 7-footer and get some of them rebounds, man. Like his hip, you know, this man, his hip, he is not lateral at all. He has no agility. He's just a slower guy. But I mean, that all can be worked on in the off season. You just got to put the work in it. And I think he has that upside in him, but I just don't think he's ready for that.
Yeah.
And my last thing, I'd rather Alex Fudge start over him personally. I just think Fudge gives a little bit more. But what you got to think?
No, I agree, man. I agree. And the thing is, at the beginning of the year, I like reading. And I know we're playing a couple cupcake teams at the beginning of the year, and I like reading. And I thought he had potential to be the best player on the team. But the thing is, I thought he was a better post player than he was the first couple of games. I thought he was going to be able to get the work in the post, but that's not the case. He seems like he's more of a stretch big. That's what it seems to me, and I think maybe he needs to start being used as a stretch big because I
But he, but he's still not he'll knock down occasional jump shots.
right.
But if you've noticed, some of the jump shots he's made is a bank shot. Come on, man. Like, let's be real. Some of those are lucky. If you're gonna be a stretch big, then don't go in the post and just be a stretch big. Like I said, though, he has to work on that on the off season.
Certainly.
And I didn't. And like I said, some people bite into the cake. The first 4 games, oh, Reed's gonna be the best player. Man, I can go back on my Twitter and go retweet this. I said from the get go, don't bite into the cake too soon. And I said from the day one, I think Sorry East is your best player. And I think Reed needs a lot of work to do. And that was before these long stretch of games have showed. But like I said, man, I'm not saying the kid's bad. I think he's a good player. Well, potentially to be a good player. He just has a lot of work to do.
Absolutely, and I agree. Tari Eason has been the best player on the team. It's been amazing to watch that. It's about time he's been starting now. It's because the injuries, recent injuries, and so. But a guy like you said, Alex Budge can replace Reed, and Reed maybe can work off the bench a little. Maybe that can help him out, get better. So he can know what to do when he comes into the game, know his role. If he could just for this year, just for this year, because the stuff that he's not doing now, he's going to have to work in the offseason, like you said. But for this year, I think he needs to walk into a role. Where does he fit on his team? What kind of role? Like, what do you think?
Yeah.
What kind of role do you think he needs to find?
And it's hard to say because he gets himself in dumb fouls. Like he's fouled out 4 or 5 games this year.
Yeah.
And then how many countless times he's had 2 or 3 fouls in the first half, and he had to sit the whole half. So I mean, the kid might be actually a baller, but it's the fact that he's not giving himself a chance because he has to take himself out the games because of silly fouls. And that's the thing, man, with being an aggressive defense. Sometimes, you got to be smart and just let them take the 2 points instead of giving up an and one and then foul trouble. So, it's just, I feel like Reed on last year's squad would have been good because last year's squad, we had multiple scores. This year, I think we're relying too much on the whole team to score because we need as many scores as we can because we don't have that go-to guy, and it puts a lot of pressure on him. And I feel like that has a lot to do with him struggling because looks like he's trying a little too hard. So I feel like with a better offense and a better playmaker around him would be good. So for like this year, man, I feel like, man, just ask him to be that defensive anchor. Like, well, first of all, I hate playing man defense sometimes because whenever they do that, then they put him in those pick and rolls. They got him covering a guard. That's how he gets himself into those foul situations. So I feel like some of the positions he's been put into hasn't been his fault. I think we could do a better job by Will Wade him. But that's just my overlook on Reed.
Yeah, I agree, and I agree with the point that we are a very aggressive defense, and that's why you do see a lot of fouls, and that's why you do see a lot of fouls being called against us that necessarily weren't fouls. Because when you are aggressive defense, it's hard to call a game in real time as a ref sometimes, and you don't really know if it's a foul or not because honestly, we play so aggressive. Anything we do could be a foul. So,
Yep.
and you say when we do play man, we do struggle a little bit, and I do think we play better in zone when we get players and we start trapping. We are best when we start trapping on defense, trapping, getting people where they're getting double teamed, not getting penetration against us. And honestly, offensively, we've been our best in transition, but it seems like as the season continues, we're getting better offensively. We're getting better in that half court, so we don't have to rely on that transition defense as often. So maybe they are trying to work on the man-to-man defense more often because we do get into tournament time. You're going to be in more half-court situations. So I just
hell, we might be reaching. It really might just be inches of difference. Now, just for me personally, I don't think one man makes a difference unless your name's Adam Miller or, Johnny Davis for Wisconsin, all these top players, in college. Like I'm saying, I use Adam Miller as an example. With Adam Miller, this team was and I say easily, they could go further, but with Adam Miller, that's the easy Sweet 16 pick because that kid was basically another Cam Thomas, except just probably a better shooter. Maybe not a better scorer than Thomas, but he was a better shooter than Thomas. And I feel like that was a guy you could run isolation off of and be your go-to guy and say, hey, well, give me a bucket. Let's go. And not saying Simpson can't do it, but he's not Adam Miller. But I think when Simpson's fully healthy, it'll make a big difference because now you have a good bench with Gaines coming off the bench. And hey, like I said, maybe Simpson's just the missing piece, but I just think teams figured out a way with our half court offense, and it just we've been playing good teams, and it just showed you can't struggle against good teams. But I think LSU, I just looked. I think we play Ole Miss and then Vanderbilt, so I think I look for them to go to 2-0 this week. I mean, there's no reason why they shouldn't against those teams. And then if they do lose one of those games, then you're in trouble. Not saying trouble that you're not going to make the tournament, but man, you're going to go from a 4 or 5 seed to like 7 or 8. You can't lose them games.
Oh yeah, it's starting to get down to the nitty gritty, and you said Ole Miss, Vanderbilt. You're gonna have to play Texas A&M again. Texas A&M.
Yep.
I thought it was an actual good team. Now they just lost again. I don't know to who, but they just lost again. But they matched up very well against us, and we got lucky against that A&M game. We grinded it out,
Well, we also didn't have. Let's say we lost Days. We didn't have Days or Pinson, so got to use factors like that. And Easton, he had cramps majority of the game, so that game, we really can't tell him about mixing up because we didn't have 3 of our better players. I just think LSU needs to get fully healthy first. I said, I know I say my piece about them sometimes, but maybe, like I said, let me see what it's like when they're healthy. And let's see if Pinson can change it up because, like I said, he is a knockdown shooter. So, and Pinson's fast with the ball, man. Like, he's fast like Gaines, except he's not wild. He's just smooth. And he finds open teammates because he's just so much faster than most guards. So, let's just see how he comes back and if they can change it around,
And you're exactly right. And I know what you mean because when this team is fully healthy, they are a better team because, one player can go down and it doesn't necessarily have to be Vincent, but let's say like Brandon Murray. I believe he was out against when we played Auburn, right? We played Auburn that first time around.
Hamstring.
Yep, and then we lost. And I just feel like, and Will Wade said it himself. He said, we're a better team when we're fully healthy. When somebody's out, that's a missing piece, and we don't do well,
That's the thing, though.
Mm-hmm.
Is when it comes tournament time, when you're playing all these games, and after the SEC tournament, you need depth, man, and that's where I think LSU is lacking, is depth, because that's why I think that was a good reason why Easton was coming off the bench, because you need somebody off the bench that's going to score, and that's the reason why Easton was doing that. When you got Easton and Gaines coming off the bench, you got some good guys right there, man. But now that they're in the starting lineup, you're taking that depth away off the bench. So we need to get healthy, but it's just, I don't know, man. I'm just worried that we don't have a guy you can just go to, and we don't have a true shooter, man. Like, that's just weird that Will Wade doesn't have a true. Well, I mean, it was Adam Miller, so we can't say he didn't recruit one. It's just Adam Miller had an unfortunate injury, but It's just tough.
Right, and you are right. This is probably one of Will Wade's non-traditional teams. Like, we're used to seeing nothing but offense from Will Wade. Nothing but.
I will say, next year, I'm looking really forward to that team. You saw we got 2 5-stars and a 4-star. Plus, you add Reed coming back. Adam Miller will be back healthy. Brandon Murray will be back. Eric Gaines, man.
Ooh, man. Dude, Will Wade is building a powerhouse, man. LSU might now be a basketball school. They really might be a basketball school.
Oh, no. Don't say that. That's a baseball school, cuz.
A baseball school? I mean, when's the last time we won a natty in baseball?
04, but you also have more championships in baseball than basketball and football. Come on.
Some people would say this is a gymnastics school,
You can say gymnastics, you can say track and field, but LSU is not a basketball school. Like, pump the brakes. But Will Wade's definitely, he's definitely built some. Now, definitely need to re-sign him. I don't know what's the deal on that. I don't know if they're waiting on NCAA with the stuff. I don't know what's going on. I'm sure they're in talks. And then the T-Mac, I've seen Scott Woodward and him talking about it, that they are going to make some updates on it. They need it because when you got rats that are running around on people's feet during the game, you can't have that.
I haven't seen that yet. I got season tickets. I haven't seen a rat yet. Now
They had somebody say something. It was all over Twitter.
Well, I might not
But
order some food again. I don't know. The food, the food there is subpar. I mean, I had some. They had some buffalo tenders now. They got buffalo tenders there now, which is weird.
oh, for real?
Yeah, buffalo chicken tenders. But
Man, that sounds good. But they did say they are gonna put some updates to it, which they need, man. All these dang leaks in there and everything. Nah, you gotta update the PMAC bad. It's old.
oh yeah, and it is, and it's bad when your little brother down the bridge in Lafayette that has a Cajun dome, and it's probably the best arena within this area, next to the Smoothie King Center in New Orleans. And the Cajun Dome is pretty nice. If we can get it up to the Cajun Dome level, LSU will have a nice. I mean, it's different. It's a nice looking arena. It's just
Oh yeah,
it just needs to be updated.
I believe it'll be updated. It's on the table. I think they want to upgrade the football concession stands and bathrooms. And I think I was reading baseball. I think Jay Johnson talking about that. I think something to do with they want bullpens or something. And then I also seen about basketball. It's all on the table. It's just a matter of when.
Right. And we got a comment here by Jordan Taylor. He said 2009, boy. I guess is he talking about
Oh,
baseball?
2009. Yeah. That's baseball. Yeah, that's my boy Jordan Taylor. He's part of the other life.
And
Can't believe I said 04. I'm thinking about football. Yeah, 09 was baseball with Chad Jones in there.
so y'all both do Under the Lights together, right?
Yeah, he's the you could say he's the co-founder, the founder. He's the creator. He did all that. He started that.
And
He that's just he's my best friend.
nice. Do y'all live in the Opelousas area? That's what came up on my phone.
Yeah, I live right there by Opelousas. It's Fort Barry. It's like 5 minutes from Opelousas.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Well, because I was wanting to ask you this question. I knew you lived somewhat in that area. I just wanted to ask you a question. Who has the best boudin south of I-10?
Man, I hate answering this because I feel like every other boudin place has different preferences and people have different taste buds. And look, people might hate on me. I love Billy's boudin. I just do. A lot of people don't like it. I always did. And that's just my boudin. I just love their boudin.
You go to the one. You go to the one in Crop Springs.
Cross Springs, yep.
Then
They got
you get the link, or you get the egg roll, or the ball.
I'll do the link. I'll do the link or the egg roll. I really like the boudin balls with the pepper jack cheese.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my favorite. Or the stuffed crawfish boudin ball. It's amazing. Tastes like crawfish etouffee.
I haven't had that one yet. I gotta try that one.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, you can either get it as a boudin ball or a boudin. It's good either way. Tastes just like crawfish etouffee.
Man, dude, I just had that over the weekend. That's why I asked. But so let's switch over to Brian Kelly, man. What I would say he's slowly winning over LSU fans. He's putting in that work. He's built up a coaching staff. He got him some New Orleans guys on the staff, from Frank Wilson to others. I forgot the others we signed who are New Orleans natives. But
Cortez, Hankton.
Yep.
Who's the other one? Oh, I got a brain for it.
I
I know
totally
there's,
forgot.
the whole staff. Just trying to remember who's from New Orleans. I know
Right.
Cortez Hankton is,
That's right. Cortez Hankins from Georgia.
and
Well, he came
yeah,
from Georgia.
he came from Georgia. He was he's from New Orleans. Trying to think, is that the only one from New Orleans? Trying to think.
I heard it
Hmm.
was 4 coaches.
Probably. Was it Frank Wilson? Was he from New Orleans?
Yeah, Frank Wilson. You got the
Cortez.
Hankins. Yeah.
Um.
Oh,
Uh.
let's see. I'm gonna look this up.
I could name the whole staff right now, but I'm trying to figure out who's just from. Let's see. Might be maybe some assistants that I'm not thinking about.
It says Jordan Archment. Jordan.
Oh, Jordan Arseman. Yeah. He he played receiver too. Yeah, he's from New Orleans.
Well, it
That's the
says
one they.
he's,
That's
well,
the one.
it says he's from
That's the
Thibodeau.
one they got. That's the one they got from Virginia.
Right. So he's adding guys, Louisiana guys, on the coaching staff. Something that people said he wouldn't be able to do, and he's steadily recruiting Louisiana. He's steadily getting these guys getting transferred. That's the most important thing. Reloading with transfers with experienced players to build to compete right now. I just think he's doing a fantastic job for as little time he has been here. He's embraced the culture that people outside the state said he wouldn't be able to fit in. He's from Massachusetts. Nah, he has fit in right in nicely. I can't wait to see what type of product he's put on the field. Obviously, I'm not expecting him, to go 12-0 or anything. I think I do expect him to compete, but I don't expect him to go crazy and start winning games. But you got to admit, he has done a great job so far.
Yeah. At first, when they first initially announced it, I won't say that I was upset. I was more shocked, and then I was like, man, he's an older guy. But then I realized, oh, so I'm gonna get over that. It was the age thing that made me like, man, it's not an older guy, but when he, when I realized, I'm like, man, no, he's still got a few years. I mean, he did sign a 2-year contract, but I mean, the man's a winner. Where he started off like Grand Valley State. I mean, I know that's a smaller school, but he won a lot of games with them. Then he went to Cincinnati. I mean, he made Cincinnati where they are right now. After he left Cincinnati, and guess what? He brought Notre Dame back to life. Because before that, Notre Dame wasn't nothing. Like I try to understand why all these Notre Dame people hate on him, because y'all realize y'all were not convenient at all before Brian Kelly was there. Like, he brought Notre Dame back to relevancy. I mean, people still live in the past when Notre Dame was dominating football. Like, this has been what, generations now since Notre Dame's been to won a championship. I mean, how long has it been?
I,
I
I,
have to.
I would guess since what? Since Joe Montana or something like that. I don't know.
It's been a long time,
Right.
and he's done brought Notre Dame to the playoff, what, 3 or 4 years? Yeah, they haven't won, but the fact of the matter is he's brought a team there with recruiting restrictions. He can only recruit because their academic level is freaking hard to get in. And you're going to sit there and tell me that he, he can't do better with LSU when there's no limitation or restrictions on academics and recruiting. And let's just face it, Louisiana, or you can say the South, just like Florida, Louisiana, Texas, just produces athletes. Especially, dude, Louisiana just produces athletes, man. It's a different animal. And like you said, you still got LSU. They love the South. You still got Texas and Georgia and Florida. They recruit out of the South. Just produces athletes. And everybody wants to say, "Oh, what's so nice about Louisiana?" And have you ever been to Indiana, dude, there is nothing to do over there, dude. It looks like the dumps over there. So if you can recruit and get a top 20 class at Notre Dame, why you can't get a top 3 or number 1, top 5 class at LSU when you recruit? And then, like you said, you're getting all these guys that's from Louisiana that know the state. I mean, you're still in top-notch coaches, man. Jamar Kane was very highly rated as a recruiter. You took him from, I think, Oklahoma was it Oklahoma or USC? It was either him. I think Kerry Cooks was Oklahoma. Kerry Cooks was from Oklahoma. He was very highly respected. Jamar Kane was at USC, very highly respected. Robert Steeples took, I think they lost like every game at a high school level. And when he became the head coach, I think they won the state championship the very next year. And then he's all of a sudden in the NFL. You literally went from a head coach in high school to the NFL. Like, yeah, as a special teams coach, but you don't see people make jumps like that. That goes to show you he's a young and upcoming coach. That's our defensive backs coach, Robert Steeples. He just started, and then he's young, man. He's like 28 years old. So I think he has high promise. You got Matt House, who is an amazing coach. You had Tyrann Mathieu, give him all the props. And I don't know, I'll pay attention when LSU hires coaches. I go back and watch game film. Dude, did you see Kansas City linebackers play this year? Dude, they were the reason why that defense was so much better this year. And Matt House coached their linebackers. He is going to change our linebacker. And not saying our linebacker room was bad last year. I think Blake Baker did a hell of a job. But Matt House, I feel like, is going to just get us to that next stop. And he's been at DC before. He has SEC experience. He's turned down. I mean, you had Auburn and Tennessee offering the DC job last year. So this dude is highly, highly regarded. Mike Denbrock, he's a proven veteran coach that has play calling. I mean, you just had Cincinnati beat all these offensive yards. I mean, their quarterback broke all these records, and that's at Cincinnati, man. Imagine with the talent LSU with his offense. And then you got Brad Davis. He's a great offensive line coach. There's a reason why Kelly kept him on staff. Cortez Hankton, he's another up and young coming coach that I think he's going to be an OC, possibly head coach one day, former wide receiver. Who else they got? I think that's all for at least our on-field coaches.
Right.
But you got some, and then they just hired a defensive analyst. I think he was a DC for like Tennessee or Georgia. Forgot his name. They just hired him a few days ago. I mean, you're getting all these analysts that have SEC experience and coaching or head coaching or coordinator experience. So you're also having all these guys as a backup in case one of these coaches takes another job to be with a higher position. So it's Brian Kelly, he's a professional. He's going to do it the right way. And with Coach O, and you never had that professionalism. And as long as I've been an LSU fan, I've never felt more comfortable and confident than I have right now. Because it feels like Brian Kelly, like, I just trust him, and that's why I have like no worries at all. And I just hope LSU fans give him the time. And like you said, realize you're not going to go 12-0. You might not go 11-1. Heck, you might not go 10-2. You might win only 9 games next year. But that's a heck of a year coming from what we lost with. And you realize we only had like 50 players on the roster. I think right now we're up to like 80-something. Like, you realize that man, like, reloaded this roster and just like that in a transition year. Like, I didn't even think he was going to be able to do that. Now, I knew we were going to get transfers, but I didn't think we were going to get this many and possibly some recruits that are going to be coming now. And I feel very good about some of them that will be announced on Wednesday. And it's just, nobody was expected it to be, for him just to build this roster back up so quickly. Now, you still got a lot of holes to fill, but as far as patching up a lot of stuff, You got a lot of depth now. I feel like with this roster we have now, all the transfers and after the recruits that come in that sign on Wednesday and the freshmen coming in, I'm not saying we're we're gonna be in a high bowl game or anything. Because I don't know. I gotta wait till spring. You can't just go ahead and jump the gun. You gotta wait till spring. But I do expect it to be a very, very competitive. I expect it to be better coached. I don't expect it to be out schemed at all. There's no you can dude with the coaching staff we have from on field coaches to analysts. LSU will never be out schemed again. I expect this team to be better prepared, physical, playing tough. You got kids from the transfer portal that are from Louisiana that wanted to come back to LSU, prove their point that they can play the SEC level. Jerick Bernard, Gabe Brooks, Joe Fuchsia. Yeah, didn't you have a few others? I think from Louisiana.
I couldn't tell you.
Tyron Lacey from UL.
Gardner.
Mattel Gardner Johnson. I know he's from Texas, but he's used to that Louisiana culture.
The cornerback from Oklahoma State.
That's the one I said. Jerick Bernard, Converse.
Okay.
You got kids that are coming back to LSU and want to play for their home state again. And it's just you're getting guys with like Jerry Converse. He had 46 starts at Oklahoma State. Dude's good, man. I'll watch this film. He's fast, bro. He's not gonna get burnt. He's big too, and he tackles. Gabe Brooks, starting nickel at Arkansas. He was a great pickup. All these Arkansas fans saying, "Oh, him and Boucher ain't good." Man, no, that's just them being salty. They left. If you talk to a real Arkansas fan, they'll tell you losing Brooks and Boucher hurt. That is a good pickup at LSU. And I'll do Boucher. He just plays nasty, man. He's a smaller safety, but he's built like Bob Sanders. He's only like 5'11", maybe 6 foot. I doubt he's 6 foot, but he's like 210, 215 maybe. But he's just compact like Bob Sanders. I'm not saying he is Bob Sanders, but if you know who Bob Sanders was, he was an all-pro safety for the Colts. He was like only like 5'11", but he was like 215, 220, and he would hit you. And that's how Joe plays. And I just feel like some of these guys are going to bring that nastiness, guys who want to play for your school, you know? And that's why I think LSU, from the roster and the coaching staff, just on paper, that's at least a 9 to 10 win season. And that's a hell of a first year. Very good start. And I hope the LSU fans realize that for what happened and what was lost in the past 2 years.
Absolutely. And we got a question from Jeremiah off of YouTube. He says, "What is going on with Danny Lewis? He did the dance with Brian Kelly, and he's off to Florida. Did he commit to Florida or the Westgate tight end, huh?"
Yeah, he never committed nowhere. He's announcing Wednesday.
Okay.
And he's not nowhere right now because it's the dead period. So if he's anywhere right now, that's it's a violation. That's not. So I don't know where all these reports are saying these kids are going anywhere. I don't think he's going to Florida because I think Florida already has 1 or 2 tight ends committed already in this class. I think it's down between LSU and Bama, and Bama has another tight end already in this class recruited. And the reason why I think he's all LSU is because he loved Mike Denbrock at Cincinnati. That's why he committed to Cincinnati. And now that Mike Denbrock is with LSU, I mean, he decommitted from Cincinnati for a reason. And his former teammate, Keyshawn Butte, is on LSU's team and is closer to home to him. And LSU needs a bigger need at tight end than Bama does. Yeah, and people are going to say, well, it's Bama. And, hey, he could go to Bama. But from what I've heard, I feel about 70 to 80, I'd say, confidence-wise on him coming to us. Just because the family that they love at LSU's home and close. So, and it's a bigger need.
Absolutely.
So,
he's
I feel good about him.
He's
6'4",
235.
Yeah, he's a very good baseball player too. He's a very good baseball player.
And
he plays.
Go ahead.
He plays. I was just saying he plays baseball too.
Do y'all stream baseball games too on Under the Lights?
No, not that I think we did, because Jordy, he works with me, but he also coaches his former high school, Port Barry High School, baseball. And I think last year for the playoffs, he did stream that game because it was the playoffs. Now, as far as regular season games, I don't think he's doing that. But I think for the playoffs, he might do it again. Because like I said, he did it when they beat Delcom, and then he did it when they played I can't think of the name. They played another team after they beat Delcom in the second round. He filmed that one, so I think he might just do just playoff games. But it's mainly football. We do basketball, but it's our main thing is football. So like I said, we will do semi-pro football. He does that also. He did the women's one also when women's had a league out of Lafayette. But basketball, he goes to occasional games because when he can, like he has a family. Baseball, like I said, that's if it would be, it would just be for his school whenever they're in the playoffs. But his main focus is football.
Absolutely.
And we'll do like all the local teams.
Mm-hmm.
See, we get sponsors. If you want us to come, then they'll pay us the travel fees and all this stuff. But if there's not like a local game that isn't really interesting us, then we'll reach out to like teams like up north, that'll play.
Right.
Like, bro, we've been to some big games, man. Like, we've been to some games where we had thousands of people in the live stream watching.
Wow.
Like, oh, bro, we've been to some huge games.
So, where could people find you on social media?
Yeah, if y'all want to find us, we have Twitter, but he mainly uses Twitter just to like share stuff from like Go Preps and stuff. But our main thing, whenever we live stream games, like we'll live stream games, and then on Wednesdays during the football season, we'll have like that's where we go live in our studio, and we'll pick who we think is gonna win. We'll have all the big games and all the loopers for football, and we have like a panel of 5 guys, and we all pick to see who we wins and stuff, and we give out all these stats. But if y'all want to follow us, go on Facebook, type in Under the Light, just like it up, man, and follow us. And that's the same thing on Twitter.
And Jordan wants to actually know. He wants to ask you. They want to know if you're putting $20, spend that $20 on LSU to win the Natty next season on DraftKings.
Oh yeah, he just started downloading the sports betting thing, man. We starting to see how much money we can start making in that, man. It's crazy. I'm glad they finally approved it.
Absolutely.
But Jordan, no, don't put it on LSU next year.
Wait for year 2. Wait for year 2.
Hey, I'm not saying no, but like I said, give the man fan base. Got to give the man a chance.
And one last thing to talk about, just real quick, what do you think about Big Joe Brrrr? What's your perspective on him, man? He's doing big things in the NFL now. Not too long ago, he was doing big names for LSU. Now he's killing it in the NFL. It's just crazy to watch. And I never seen an LSU player like this before. We had some legends in the past, but this guy, he's different, man. He's just straight up different. And I just want to get your perspective on Joe Burrow and what he's doing right now is just absolutely mind blowing.
Well, I mean, if you think about, in year 2 at LSU, it's when he broke all these records and he won the national championship, right?
Right.
So last year as a rookie, his season was cut short because of injury. Guess what he's doing in year 2? The same thing he did in year 2 at LSU. Dude's playing for a championship. Now, he hasn't won it yet, but he's playing for a championship in year 2, the same year he won at LSU. Think about that. That's That's all I got to say. The man is a winner. He he's been doubted his whole life. Wasn't highly recruited, and he put that work in. And that's another thing, like I'm trying to tell you about earlier about this star rating. It's all BS, man. Justin Jefferson was a 1 star, 2 star. I mean, Joe Burrow, dude. I think he had only one Power 5 conference offer, and that was Ohio State, and that was only because he was from Ohio.
Right.
Like, dude, like it's amazing how these kids get overlooked just because of some. What I think is Colin Coward said when he was getting drafted. Oh, Joe Burrow, he's a great quarterback. Put his knock on him. He has small hands. Look, like really, you're gonna knock him for small hands, bro? The dude, and then he's a good athlete, man. Like people don't like. I don't know if you realize, but it was 3rd and 7. I think it was like on the 35 or 40-yard line. Cincinnati, where it was tied game at the point. This is when Cincinnati kicked that field goal to go up, was it 24-21?
Right.
Whenever, yeah. It was 3rd and 7. Chris Jones, an all-pro defensive tackle, Pro Bowler, had him wrapped up. Joe Burrow slipped out. Then he had, I forgot who was behind him, chasing him down. He slipped out of that tackle, a sack. This is going to be a sack. If Cincinnati is not to punt the ball. And then he ran for you could say 9, 8 yards before he extended the ball for his first down. I don't know if you remember that play. That was on the final drive when Cincinnati kicked the field goal to go up 3. You don't remember that?
Yeah, the dude did it on back-to-back 3rd downs. That's the thing. Back-to-back 3rd downs. The offensive line is trash, man. And this dude's running for his life.
Dude, for him to do what he's doing with that offensive line speaks volumes. And it goes to show you that if Joe Burrow doesn't get hurt last year, they wouldn't have Jamar Chase. And Jamar Chase is one of the reasons, not saying he's the reason, but he's one of the main reasons why they're in the Super Bowl. And just think like how crazy things fall into place. Like if Joe Burrow doesn't get hurt, because you know how they lost all those games, he doesn't get hurt, because you figure they're going to win some of those games. They're not drafting Jamar Chase because they would have probably a higher pick than what they would have, and Chase would have been gone. So it's just crazy how things fall. And man, I tell you what, if they go draft, which I'm pretty sure they will, offensive line and then free agency, bruh, Joe Burrow's about to run him and Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. It's going to be some exciting time football to watch in the AFC.
Absolutely. The NFL is in good hands. And Joe Burrow is the first ever number 1 overall pick to make a conference championship in his first 2 years. And Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase has never lost a playoff game together in college or NFL.
You realize this is Cincinnati we're talking about? Cincinnati.
Right.
Dude, I never thought I would see this. And that's how bad their franchise has been.
They never won a playoff game since what? The 80s.
I thought it was 91.
Probably 91, yeah.
I thought it was, they said Texan wasn't even invented yet. It was the last time they won a playoff. So whenever they won their first playoff game, if you texted them that somebody that the Bengals won, you were the first person in the history to say the Bengals won. That's how long it's been since they won the playoffs. That's crazy, man. And look at that. They're in the AFC Championship. And look, shout out, you got to give credit, man. Look, I know Joe Burrow did great, but you got to give credit to their defensive coordinator and their defense for making the
adjustments. Absolutely.
The adjustments, man. Were they up 21-3 before half, and then they only scored 24? They scored 3 points in the 3rd, 4th, and overtime. They only scored 3 points.
Hold them to under 100 yards in the offense, and then hold Tyreek Hill to 0 yards.
Zero catches. Kelsey, he had a good first half. He didn't have a blowout. Second half, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he was quiet. Jerick McKinnon, their backup, Darrell Williams, they were quiet. Patrick Mahomes, dude, he just looked. Dude, it looked like when Eli Apple, and man, I hate saying that dude's name because what he's been doing on Twitter. When Eli Apple made that tackle before half to stop Tyreek Hill from scoring, which I do not know why they ran that play, they should have kicked the field goal, but it's like momentum changed, and that's when Cincinnati took off. You remember that before half?
I did see that.
Crazy, man.
It was a dumb play, but you was tackled right. That tackle was a good tackle by Apple, and we hate to say it.
Yeah.
We hate to say it, but that was a good tackle. And the thing is, this is the second time they came back and beat the Chiefs. And I believe last time they played the Chiefs, it was on the was it their home game or was they at the Chiefs? I'm not too sure the first game.
They were at Cincinnati. They were at the home game.
Well,
it was right. It was before the I think the last game or the second to last game of the regular season.
Well, I gotta get out of here. I gotta it's my girlfriend's birthday. Shout out to her. I gotta go to her birthday dinner. But
Uh-oh.
I know, right? But thank you, man. I appreciate you for coming on. And what's your Twitter username? Your personal Twitter username?
Oh crap. Just type. Hold on. What you doing, Ace? Hold H Lee. HOLDHLEE. That's my Twitter handle, y'all. I said I appreciate you having me on the show, Sean. I said if you ever need me to come back, bro, I'm always down to talk. I love doing this, man. It's fun.
Absolutely, dude. You know I'm gonna get you back on to talk LSU. I've been needing to find somebody to talk LSU with, and I think I found you, and I think I
Oh
found.
yeah, man, it's fun. And I'm gonna try to get Jordy to come on, man. Jordy's very good, man. Like I said, he runs our podcast. He's good at. I mean, I have a good personality. Like I said, I'm good with talking to people, but he's good with talking to people too, man. Like he gives good information also.
And we're gonna get him on too. We're gonna get him on too,
And we'll whenever we have our show again, we don't start back up till football season. We'll give your show a shout out. You know, we help each other out, man. We don't just look at it for us. We help other people out.
I appreciate it. We'll work together. That's what I'm talking about. Teamwork.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
How it is, brother.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, and make sure everybody go follow Under the Lights. Go follow. Is your first name Holden?
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure. Go follow Holden on Twitter, and we'll catch you next time.
All right, fellas. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you.
Bye-bye.
And there you have it, folks. That was Mr. Holden Lee, man. That was awesome. I appreciate him coming on. We're gonna get him on again. Obviously, talk LSU. I've been needing to get an LSU guy. I'm not that involved in LSU like I am in the Saints and Pelicans. I like guys who know the in and outs of recruiting. He knows it all. It sounds like he knows it all. We're gonna get Mr. Jordan Taylor on too. We're gonna get you on as well. We're gonna get that worked up as well. But that's gonna do it for Off the Dome Sports. Make sure you give a like, follow, and subscribe to everything: Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, everything. And we'll catch you next time on Off the Dome Sports.